Ukraine marked 4 years of its conflict with Russia with a solemn moment of silence. Leaders of the European Union joined President Volodymyr Zelenskyy in Ukraine's capital, Kyiv, reaffirming their solidarity with him. For its part, Russia maintained that Western involvement has widened the conflict but said that it remains open to a diplomatic solution. DD India's Nishchoy Roy reports.
4 years on, the conflict in Ukraine has evolved from a regional unrest into a defining geopolitical contest, testing Europe's unity, NATO's resolve, and the global balance of power. Kyiv paused in silence on Tuesday, marking the 4th anniversary of the conflict with Russia. Soldiers lowered flags in the capital as commuters paused and bowed their heads in remembrance. Leaders of the European Union joined President Volodymyr Zelenskyy for a prayer service in Kyiv, reaffirming European solidarity. In a video address on Tuesday, Zelenskyy said Ukraine is ready to do everything for a strong and lasting peace and renewed his call for a clear EU membership timeline.
Ukrainians are enduring the hardest winter in history and terror almost every night. I do not know who else could withstand this without collapsing or wavering. Ukrainians are doing it. Of course, we all want the war to end, but no one will allow Ukraine to end. We want peace, strong, dignified, lasting.
French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer chaired a virtual coalition of the willing meet, highlighting Western unity on Ukraine. Addressing the conference, Volodymyr Zelenskyy urged allies to maintain strong and sustained support.
We need Europe in negotiations. We do what we can to involve Europeans as much as possible, and we count on your leadership in all this negotiation process. We will have trilateral format, I think, during this week or 10 days.
At NATO headquarters, Secretary General Mark Rutte said lasting peace in Europe is impossible without peace in Ukraine.
We remember today and every day what Ukraine has endured. But while we pay tribute to those lost and those suffering, we also stand in hope, inspired by 4 years of unbroken resistance. NATO stood with Ukraine from the beginning. We stand with you today, and we will stand with you throughout the challenges ahead.
Meanwhile, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres renewed his call for an immediate, full and unconditional ceasefire in Ukraine. Russia, however, maintains that Western intervention has turned the conflict into a broader confrontation. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the fighting continues, but insisted that Moscow remains open to achieving its aims through political and diplomatic means. As the ongoing peace talks, brokered by the United States, appear to have stalled over the question of territory, the path to peace remains as contested as the battlefield itself. Nishchoy Roy for DD India.